Hi friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Olivia, and if you've never seen my face before, you can consider me your fragrance fairy godmother. So if there is one question that I am asked over and over and over as a fragrance reviewer, it's what is my most complimented fragrances of my entire collection. And while I personally think we should be wearing fragrances based on our personal preferences and taste, it doesn't hurt to get a little compliment every now and again if we're being honest. So I've put together a list of 15 fragrances that every time I wear them, they get a lot of attention. And as I was putting this list together, I realized that all of the fragrances that I talk about in today's video are available at Sephora, but that was not intentional, it just happened to be that way. Because, spoiler alert, a lot of them are designer fragrances. Now, why is that? Designer fragrances are mass-marketed fragrances, and they're typically formulated to be likable. They're not going to be like niche fragrances that are really out there and complex and maybe a little bit abrasive to some. They're specifically designed to reach a wide audience. So it's no surprise to me that these get good compliments. So if you're looking to make a little bit of a buzz, you want to smell good, but you want people to tell you you smell good, you're in the right place. So grab yourself a little drink, little snack, settle in, and let's get into the fragrances. Starting off with a fragrance that has been popular for many, many years, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. I don't love this fragrance with my whole heart, but it seems like people always compliment me when I'm wearing it. I don't really get it. And that is Angel by Mugler. Now this fragrance is not going to be for the faint of heart. This is a very bold, very bombastic, very attention-grabbing fragrance. And when you first spray it out, it's going to feel a little bit harsh, in my opinion. But this is a spicy patchouli with a sweet chocolate undertone that when it melds into your skin, there is something to be said about patchouli being an aphrodisiac, because this is a fragrance that every time I wear it, I'm told that is a sexy perfume. Now this is very patchouli dominant, so for those of you who don't like the scent of patchouli, that gives something earthy and a little bit bitter and spicy, you're not going to like this. But it wasn't actually this one that originally got me hooked on the line. I had an old coworker that wore Angel Muse, and she smelled so freaking good that I would snag it out of her bag and just put on a little spray. So this is an interesting one to start out with because this is also a fragrance that a lot of people tell me is their most hated fragrance of all time. So it's polarizing, it makes a statement, and would be good for people who have a big personality. So if you have a big personality, if you want something that's really vibrant and bold and ostentatious, I think you would love this. My only tip is it's one of those fragrances that when you smell it on the paper, you're not gonna smell the magic, but once it mixes into your skin, it is quite pleasant. It's just a little bit sharp in the beginning, albeit for some reason, people love it when I wear it, so it's on the list. But if you're more of a beginner to fragrances and polarization is not the name of your game and you want something that is just going to be pretty simple and effective, let me introduce you to Prada Paradoxe. I have to be really honest, when I first smelled this fragrance, I reviewed it on my page and I said, this is terribly generic, I don't get it. But after wearing it time and time again, I really understand because this is a basic fragrance in the way that you can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can wear it any season, any occasion, and it will be applicable. This is a sweet white floral fragrance, so if you're not a fan of white florals, this will not be for you. But this has a bright citrusy opening that makes it feel very fresh. It is quite sweet, almost bordering a little bit candied sweet, with a really nice warm ambery vanilla musky dry down. So although I do find this scent to be a little bit common when it comes to designer fragrances, it is very effective. It's pretty, it's polished, it's sweet, and it's very easygoing. So for those of you who are newer to fragrances and you want one and done, you want to smell good, and you don't want to think too hard about it, I think you would like this. Now for those of you who are like myself and you like something that's a little bit more dark, a little bit more sultry and wintertime and rich, but those fragrances tend to be a little bit strong and polarizing, let me introduce you to one that's actually a gentleman's fragrance called Gentleman by Givenchy. Now this has all the warm, dark characteristics that I like of my wintertime bold fragrances, but in a really wearable fashion. This is predominantly a powdery, woody scent. You have some iris giving it that warm, fluffy sort of feeling that feels very comforting. But then you have a chestnut and a whiskey, giving it this warm, toasted, nutty quality, this booziness that gives it this sexy sort of feel, but in a way that just melds into your skin so beautifully. And although this is marketed towards men, I think more women need to try this fragrance out because it is beautiful. Warm, woody, boozy, and comforting without being overly spicy or sharp. Another powdery, woody scent that I get compliments, and I mean a stupid amount of compliments when I wear it, is a fragrance that, if you watch this channel, is going to be of no secret to you, and that is Lover by the Maker. Yes, I know I talk about this fragrance all the time, but I made the most beautiful layering combination with this scent the other day. Let me show you, hold on. I mixed Lover with Sweet Leaf by Room 1015, and this is a very fresh cannabis and eucalyptus scent that on its own might be a little bit dank for some people, but when layered with Lover, did something very special because I wore this to sing karaoke with a girlfriend of mine who does not like fragrances. Every fragrance that I show her, she's like, it's too perfumey. It's too perfumey. When I wore this combination, she was like, what is that? That's good. And in that same night, the owner of the karaoke joint that we went to is this very grumpy old man that he doesn't crack a smile. He is always bitching at somebody, yet he said, which one of you is wearing a fragrance? I said, oh, it's me. And he said, that smells wonderful. That is about as high as praise as I've ever gotten because that man cannot be pleased ever. I've gotten my mom on this fragrance, I got my brother's girlfriend on this fragrance, and even my dad wanted a bottle of this. So this is also a powdery, woody scent, but this one is going to come off a little bit more green, not quite as dark as Gentleman. Because instead of being ambery and whiskey, this is going to be more musky with a little bit of fig and a very soft, supple suede. This feels like a cashmere sweater, it feels like a cuddle, and this is one of those fragrances that no matter who is wearing it, it takes on a unique character. So I know I've talked about it a lot, but I'm gonna keep talking about it until people try it because it's chef's kiss. So the next one is about as polar opposite as it gets because this is candied sweet and it's very playful and it's not a serious fragrance, but it gets compliments, and that is Perfect by Marc Jacobs. And this smells like a red Jolly Rancher, so you get something sweet and mouthwatering and tangy and candied mixed with mimosa flowers, those little teeny yellow fluffy flowers that smell like cosmetic powder. So it's floral and fluffy, sweet and candied, and a little bit juicy. And I wore this for so long until my husband really wanted to steal it from me. So this is now reserved for my husband, but I still very fondly look at this fragrance. So if you have more of a sweet, bubbly, playful personality, you're very girly, you're very fun-loving, maybe a little bit younger, I think that you would love this. But say you want to live kind of right in the middle of those two. You want something that's sweet and fruity, but you want something that's also a little bit dark and mysterious and sexy. We're going with Cherry Ambition. So this is a cherry fragrance, but it does not go medicinal. It does not go syrupy or cough syrup-like, but it is quite sweet. So imagine these juicy, sweet, bright red cherries along with a fluffy marshmallow, but then you make it a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more grown up. So in the base, you get this warm, woody, almost charred, smoky sort of feel. So it starts off bright and sweet and happy, but then starts to turn a little bit mysterious. It's almost wine-like on the skin with this smoky characteristic. It is super duper sexy. So if you want something sweet, but you want a little mystery, you want a little bit of complexity, this one. But say you're more the type of person that likes something that's very fresh and very clean, you have a very polished aesthetic, and you don't want to come off overbearing or overly perfumed. For that, we're going with Colette by Tocca. So this is is going to be very reminiscent of G Water by Byredo, but comes at a little bit better of a price, and in my personal opinion, lasts a little bit longer, so you get a little bit more bang for your buck. This is a very uplifting, citrusy, musky, sort of clean laundry-esque fragrance that makes you feel like you've had a really, really nice day at the spa. And it's got the note of violet, which gives it this beautiful, sheer, aquatic, slightly powdery floral, which doesn't take it too far in the floral category for those of you who don't want something that's like you're walking through a flower garden. This is fresh and airy, and what I like about it is it's work appropriate because it doesn't have a huge projection, so you can wear this, and for people that are close within your bubble, they'll smell you and think that you smell very clean and very fresh and very approachable. And for my vanilla lovers, undoubtedly a vanilla fragrance that garners so many compliments is Vanilla Skin by Fleur. I realize that this fragrance has been hyped to death on the internet, but for a good reason. It is very good. Because this is vanilla, so it's creamy and sweet, but not in a way that's overbearing, because in the base, you get this dark, smoky, woody, almost like a log cabin sort of feel. So to me, it smells like you're roasting marshmallows on a wood-burning fire. Imagine the crackling wood and the ooey gooey marshmallow. It's delicious, but there's also something a little bit nostalgic about it. And I like that it's a vanilla that has some depth to it, because there's some vanillas that have almost a boozy brown sugar sort of quality to it, and that is this to a T. Dark, boozy, sweet, rich, and a little bit smoky. Fantastic. Now, if you like Vanilla Skin, but you were hoping for something a little less sweet and a little bit more androgynous, let me introduce you to By the Fireplace. And a lot of people ask me why this bottle is gold. This was a limited edition bottle, but it is the same fragrance. And this truly smells like a wood burning fire. This is smoky. This is woody. This is dark and charred. But the lasting power of this is mega. The projection of this is mega. And this one comes off more boozy. So dark, smoky, charred wood, booze, a little bit of sweetness, and more androgynous, more mysterious. If you were one of those people that when you went to bonfires, you would get the scent of the burning wood in your hair and you didn't want to wash it off, like me, this is for us. Now, another fragrance that's typically marketed towards men that I get a lot of compliments on is Born in Roma, Uomo. This is the men's version. So I originally purchased this fragrance for my husband, but I found myself going into the bathroom and stealing it because there's no two ways around it. This fragrance smells like a hot dude. But I find this bottle to be a little bit misleading because this is actually a very fresh fragrance. I would not look at this bottle and think, yeah, that's definitely a fresh fragrance. But this comes off very mineral, very salty in the beginning, almost like a fresh ocean breeze. You also get some herbal characteristics coming from a sage. So this almost smells like cold, salty metal on a beach. It is fresh, it is polished, but there's something about it that just smells like a dude that's got his life together. And personally, I want to smell like that. And because this is marketed towards men, when I wear this fragrance, I tend to get a lot of compliments from men. And when I tell them, oh yeah, you should look it up, you should try it yourself, they think, oh no, it must be a lady's fragrance. I'm like, dude, if you like the scent of it, just wear it. And they're always shocked to hear, no, this is actually marketed towards men, but even if it wasn't, you're allowed to wear it if you like it. It's okay. Next up is a fragrance that admittedly I underestimated because when I looked at the notes, I thought, okay, coconut. I've smelled that before. But this is a tropical-esque fragrance done like none other in my collection, and that is Coco Fleur by Net. So this is a coconut fragrance, but it doesn't come off very milky or very sweet or artificial like copper tone, but rather has the note of sandalwood. So this comes off a little bit husky and dry. So you are getting something that smells like coconut, but more like coconut shavings with woods. But then you have the note of ambrette, and ambrette makes everything better because it's warm and musky. It has a slight floral scent to it, but it almost smells a little bit like banana cereal. in a very good way. So this is a coconut scent, but it's not your copper tone scent. This is an expensive, polished, expensive beach resort sort of coconut. Nay, imagine you own the beach resort. That is this scent. I actually have another coconut fragrance in this list, but it is quite a bit different, and that is Utopia Vanilla Cocoa by Kayali. Whereas the last one is dry, a little bit more earthy and woody and semi-sweet, this one is going to come off much more creamy, but what dominates this is a very, very apparent white floral. First and foremost, this is a floral fragrance. You have a creamy tuberose, you have a gardenia, you have a jasmine. So it has this very feminine, very polished, almost slightly vintage feel, but the coconut in this is sweet and milky and creamy. So this feels very polished, very feminine, but in a way that doesn't feel too young. This has a maturity to it that makes it feel very sophisticated and very defined. And when I first smelled it, I thought, okay, that's a nice fragrance, but the way that it melded into my skin just smelled heavenly. Incredible. Smooth, floral, fluffy, milky. I think I'm gonna wear this tomorrow. Okay, just kidding. I actually have 3 coconut fragrances on this list because apparently coconut is a very universally enjoyed scent, and that is Flowerbomb Tiger Lily. So this one is going to be more of your traditional sunscreeny, beachy coconut. And what pushes it even further into the summer sun category is the note of a very juicy, ripe mango. So this one comes off very, very fruity with the florals more in the background. And out of the Flowerbomb line, this is the furthest from the original that they have. So if you didn't like the original, there's still a chance that you might like this one. Sunscreeny coconut, juicy mango, light bit of florals, but on the dry down has this really nice warm ambery benzoin. Admittedly, another fragrance that I thought was a little bit generic, but it seems to get a lot of buzz when I wear it, so it's on the list. So this next one is an oldie but a goodie, and another fragrance that you can wear any day, any occasion, and it will always fit, and that is Chloe. So this is going to be a very fresh, very sheer floral scent, with the most prominent being rose. But the rose in this is done in a way that is very modern, with some fruitiness coming from lychee. So you're getting something tart, sweet, juicy, and a little bit watery, with these sheer modern florals that feel very clean. This is one of those fragrances when I do not want to think too hard. I just want to put on a fragrance. I want to smell good, but I don't want to have to match it to my outfit. This blends in with everything. So if you've been curious to try a rose fragrance, but a lot of them are a little bit too old school, a little bit too heavy, this is what you're looking for. And last up on my list is a fragrance that I have loved for so long, and so many people have told me this is a generic fragrance, I don't know why you like it so much, but I just do, okay? Don't rain on my parade. Irresistible by Givenchy. Oh! So this opens up sweet and a little bit tart with the note of pear. And this is also a sheer rose, but this comes off much more powdery and musky. This just smells like the most gentle, ethereal, positive, beautiful woman that you've ever met. This woman exudes kind energy, a big heart, a generous spirit. That is what this smells like. The type of person that you want them to wrap you in a warm hug and never ever let go. That is this. And this is a pretty girl, feminine, gentle scent through and through. And I think because of my tattoos and my voice and my style, that's not really the energy that I give off necessarily. So I personally actually like to wear fragrances like this because I think they soften my demeanor a little bit, make me a little bit more approachable. The throat tattoo is giving biker gang, but the perfume is giving a very nice nanny. And I'll never forget, on my friend's birthday, I wore this fragrance and he gave me a hug and he said, and I quote, "I want my future wife to smell like that." And with that, my friends, we're ending the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my fragrances that tend to get a lot of compliments. It seems like we had fragrances from all over the map. We had some spicy, we had some dark, we had some sweet, we had patchouli even. Riddle me that, Batman. I have no idea, but it does the job. But at the end of the day, you should really wear fragrances that you enjoy, and the main catalyst should not be because you want to get a compliment. Because the reality is, fragrances are there to give you confidence, and a confident person will naturally attract compliments. So at the heart of it, wear whatever you want. Just to give you a quick little story as an example before I go, I wear Chanel No. 5, a fragrance that people hate on up and down on every channel that I have. They say it stinks, it smells like cat piss, it smells like a retirement home, blah blah blah. But tell me why every time I wear it, I get compliments. Why? If it's such a hated fragrance, why is it so complimented? Because it's all about how you wear it. And I don't think people expect to see someone that's edgy and alternative to be wearing a fragrance that, let's be honest, most of our grandmothers were wearing. So that's my favorite thing about scent, is that it can either naturally enhance what you already have going on, or you can use it as this beautiful dichotomy, this kind of push and pull between what people see and what people get. It's all about creating a persona, and you get to decide what person you want to be from day to day. So let fragrances be an accessory, but not speak for your entire personality. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next Saturday, 10 a.m. PST, and until then, take care of yourselves, my friends.